Okay, so let's explore how we can modify the simple loop which was playing one note repeatedly with one change in each run, meaning actually two changes. It changes the frequency, it increases the frequency by 50 hertz, and it decreases the amplitude by 2/3. Now, as we said before, now we are going to create a more comprehensive instrument, more complex instrument by running 3 loops together, one being on a center in terms of stereo position, and the other 2 being on the left and right. But also those outer left and right will play note that's a few intervals higher or lower than the center one. So whenever you play a note in the final format, what you're going to hear is 2 notes, quote unquote 2 notes, meaning that there's a one that's playing the fundamental frequency, and the other 2 on the left or right will play certain intervals that's above or below the center note in here. That's what the ratio will control. So RMHS value, when we run this code, it's going to play those 3 loops to create a complete sound, and each of these will have a detuned, algorithmically and randomly detuned pitch. But also every note you're gonna actually produce will have a unique frequency and amplitude modulation pattern because of all the randomization that we have put in our step 3 in the step 3. So now the loop, here is the modified loop from the step 2, and there's only a few things that we modify. Basically, instead of giving a 50 hertz as our set frequency, now whenever I set the number in a fundamental in my function, it will be set as a fundamental frequency. So for example, if I set my fundamental frequency as 100 hertz, next overtone series will be 100, 200, 300, and so and so. Okay. Now the amplitude, you have a times 2 in here. This is the only new thing. And for repeats, you have a times 0.5 and round 1. Now compared to that, your left and right one does not change much. It does not change anything from step 2. Basically, what I wanted to do on the center was that my center sound will be louder, twice as louder than my left and right. But also the repetition, which determines the number of voicings you have in one chord, will be about 75% lower than the left and right. So in the result, you're gonna have a center channel which has a little bit less overtones, a little less higher frequencies, but also it's going to be a little louder than the left and right to be in a balance. Okay, that's about it. Now, your left and right channel is pretty much the same, but only difference is that there are 2 in here. Okay, so everything else is quite the same as either center or the step 2. But now, because this has to be ratio, what I do is basically I multiply my fundamental by the ratio inputs in here to create the specific interval. Yeah. Also, my pen position for left will be ranging from, with the randomization, -0.7 to -0.2, while the right one is on the opposite side of the positive side, 0.2 to 0.7. What it does is that whenever my synthesizer runs through a loop, my left channel will pick any position on the left channel, left side of your stereo field, in between -0.7 to -0.2, -1 being hard left and 1 being hard right. So left and right, as you can see, will have exact same fundamental ratio, but because of our instrument, they will be detuned. The exact frequency that you are going to get on the left and right are always going to be slightly different, creating an extra layer of beating. Now, so you combine all those three and you get the final product that I wanted to hear. You can also try that for yourself. So this is the function tilde RMHS, which is here, and you can see that it's actually the step 2 routine multiplied by 3 times with the difference that I explained a few minutes before. Okay, so now if you want to run, make sure that you have ran the instrument iSimple from step 3, and then you run this, and then basically you run the last line. So my goal is when I present music, when I start to record or make music out of RMHS algorithm, I just want to think about just one line, this, nothing else. Okay, and those algorithm actually determines what it means. So I just want to think about just the amplitude, the number of repetition of the voicings, the starting frequency, the ratio, and the total duration. Right? I don't want to think or tweak my routine or the instruments. This is my preset that works for me, and this is where I want to actually think in terms of the performance, in terms of the presentation. So now for the last step, I'm basically gonna control this one line using a GUI. So when we create a GUI using all the algorithms that we have went over so far, whenever I press this start button, these numbers, right, loudness, number of harmonics, fundamental frequency, and interval and duration, they correspond to this number, this number, this number, this number, and that. All I'm doing at the in here is set those numbers and run that tilde RMHS function when we press this button. So here is the step 5 code. It looks very long because half of the code is actually used to build the GUI. But check this out. When you press the button, this is all you are running. Tilde RMHS the value and what's inside here. And these are basically the codes that just receives the number from those number boxes in the GUI and just put the specific number in there. And that's it. Right? The GUI basically hides what's going on behind, and my one line function hides everything that's going on actually behind that one line specific presets. Okay, and in a way, the way we use the plugins or effects are like that. You know, you have 3 knobs that changes certain numbers in the certain numbers in a little function, but behind it there's a lot of things going on. Okay. Now, so here's a little chart where you can actually see, for example, if I have a fundamental frequency of 50, and if I repeat that for 10 times, this could be one frequency range charts that you can actually get. Like your center channel could have very close to 100 hertz, the 550, 100 hertz, 150, and so far. And your left would be, I think it's the 4 to 3, 3 to 4. I think it's 3 to 4, depending on how you see it. actually no, sorry, 43. So it's going to be 43, 1.25%, 125% higher than the original pitch. So you're gonna have those numbers, right? Because of our algorithms, this could be a little higher or lower than the original pitch. And this you're gonna hear in the left channel, this you're gonna hear in the right channel. I don't know if the example is exactly like that, but this is one example of running, one example of series of frequencies running this this line in here. Okay. All right, so let's hear it again. So white columns are without any variations. So basically running step 1 and 2, but red, blue, and red columns are what you're actually hearing right now with slight detunings. Right, so these slight differences between left and right channel is creating those beatings. And it's gonna sound differently whenever we try to run. Whenever we try to run this code. So here, for example, right now my interval would be 5 half steps per fourth. But this will be different when I run again with the exact same parameters. And for the convenience, I just added a record button, which is same as recording, by just pressing the bottom right corner and just pressing bottom right corner of the super collider and pressing start recording. Okay, so yeah, in all, the end users, we're not even gonna see this. They're just gonna see the graphical user interface, and they can just create their own version of RMHS by just pressing one button and tweaking the numbers in 5 number boxes. Okay, good. Let's go back. And that's it, right? So here's the GUI with the little arrow on which button corresponds to which argument. Okay, and you can, if you are not feeling just choosing a specific number, I also added a little randomization button that randomizes numbers that you get here. Okay, now for more detailed explanations, there's a link to the in this video how to use RMHS. Okay. And as I said at the beginning of this episode, there's a whole album worth of examples that you can listen to, and I strongly encourage you to at this point not only download it and use the RMHS, but also look at the code and look at the code that actually made the final product in this episode, downloadable in this episode, but also downloadable in joowonpark.net/RMHS. Okay, and that's it for this episode. And next time we meet, I'm going to explain the step-by-step procedure of making ISJS. And I think by the time you see the video, you're gonna have a link to the entire album made out of this algorithm too. Okay, so next time, I think I'm quite excited because it's like my closest approximation on this concept of granular synthesizer, and I'm actually quite excited to share music I made with this algorithm too. For those of you who are interested in more music that in the spirit of the RMHS or using an overtone series, I have an album called Over Undertone, and many of the pieces that's included in here is using an algorithm and also plays around with this idea of overtones and harmony in a very computer music way too. Okay, good. Contact me if you have any questions, comment, send me an email, and I'll be happy to answer your questions. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.